I'm going to call the Monday, August 6th, 6:30 PM, Park and Rec Commission meeting to order. So our first order of business is public forum. So do we have anyone who wishes to speak? Come, Joan.
I can only stay till 7. I have to fill in everybody else. That's not hard.
That's okay.
He hurt himself.
I'm available. Need this for short people. I just want to let all of you
Introduce
know,
yourself,
and
Joan.
because I haven't been told by anybody else from the Park and Rec Department, that our permit that was applied for to the state of Connecticut for Lake Quanapog, control the weeds and to do some work on the south end, has been turned down. And I'd like to find out when, Rick, when did you know about this, or
Last week.
last week?
Last few days, last week.
Yeah.
Because I just found out Saturday, and
So they're working on a different product to try to get permission to do that.
yeah, but they said that 2 months ago, that Greg was going to try a different product
Right.
if the state didn't want that one. But
Right.
the thing that gets me is now here we are in August. We were told it would be in June, July, and August. When did the permit get put in?
We don't do it, the contract does it. I was going to say probably April or earlier, and it was supposed to start by contract in July, and you're supposed to do the work.
Right.
Permit got turned down because of so what happened is there's not invasive weed, there's a protected weed that the DEP believes is in the lake, so now Greg Bugby has to go back and redo another survey to find where it is, and then they got to determine if they're going to let us put a chemical down where this weed is
That
in
will
the lake.
not affect the protected weed.
Right.
The weed that he hasn't been able to find for the last 3 years.
Right, but they're still pushing it.
But it's-
Yeah, believe us, we know that
Well-
we're as frustrated as you are.
We're pretty upset about it. You know, we've been following this up. We've been 3 years. And I'd like to know how much more money is left in the budget that you haven't spent for Lake Quanapog for this year. It's one thing I'd like to know.
Well, I believe there was 20,000 in this year's budget. The project was going to cost about 17, 18, roughly, something like that. It's still there. The money's still there because it hasn't been spent because they didn't do the work.
What I'd like to see you pursue, and this whole board, is that we go ahead as soon as we can and pay for the survey out of that money, and in the meantime, go before the selectmen and get the extra money that we need to do this. And I would like that done, and then I'd like to plan for next year that we put in lots of more money, at least $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in the budget, and go before the selectmen and get that approved, and have everybody go up there and look at the south end of the lake. Go up there and you look at the south end of the lake, it has a whole bunch of mud like this, and it's packed about this deep, the whole south third of the lake, and the rest of the lake is the worse than it's ever been. It's like if you didn't mow your lawn all summer long, what it would look like. Well, that's the way it is right now. And you guys have a liability or the town does, because you rent out or you let them use paddle boats and kayaks and so forth, and that's a danger if they get caught in the weeds. The weeds are worse than they've ever been. And somehow I don't think that we should be having the aquatic company. Before we did, you were appointed along with Greg Bugby and Kevin McGee in the last administration to put the permits together, apply for the permits, and we got them. Now all of a sudden we don't have them. So I don't think the idea of just leaving it up to a company that we're going to hire to control the weeds or put down aquicide of some sort, or any type of herbicide is going to be as emphatic about trying to get it done. And we are going to be I've already contacted Senator Kennedy and Senator Scanlon. I called Matt Hoey this morning. We'd like to get together as a group. If not, everybody would like to meet with you up at the firehouse in North Guilford, along with, we'll try and get Kennedy and Scanlon and Matt Hoey up there. But I would like everybody to go up and look at that lake, and you'll see if you owned a home on the south end of the lake or the north end of the lake, you want to be paying waterfront taxes. So, it's just a total mess, and we're making a request that we put a little more effort in this and that there's more communication. We kind of left it up to you guys because we were told, the money was there and this would be done and that would be done, and now here we are, we're almost through the summer and we have a bigger mess, and we've just gone backwards.
Is this not getting done because of money?
No, it's DEP.
It's getting done
DEP is
So
because of the
still-
permit.
DEP is not giving us the permit.
Correct.
So a company applied for the permit.
Mhm.
What if we had applied for the permit?
I don't think it made any difference.
It wouldn't have made
It's
any
still the same
difference.
No,
permit.
because it's still
So
the same
basically,
weed.
we need to get a permit from the state. That's where the holdup is.
Well, they want another survey. I have
The
a list
state
of,
wants another survey.
I have a list of
Yeah, welcome to
22
Connecticut.
surveys and things that have been done since 1979.
Right, I know
And
we do.
some of you, I don't have a lot to give out. Some of you already have these, but if you go in to this, I'll give it to some of the new people who weren't around a few years ago when we came forward with this. But in here, there is a whole list of we put a list in here of every single survey that's been done and what the results were and how much money has been spent.
Joan, does the state have all of this information as well, I assume?
Yes.
So,
We're,
I mean, we can't make them give us a permit, can we?
No,
I'm
Greg
sitting here.
Buckley's been instrumental with this, so Greg's been involved all along, right from the start with this project and with the ongoing thing. Believe me, he's very frustrated too.
He's very upset over
Yeah,
it, but
right.
we have to do something about it. And his question was, well, should we go ahead with going, once we get the survey done as soon as possible and treat? Yes. We, the Friends of Quanapug and people around the lake want to have that done, and then next year done, and even more done down the south end. I'm sitting here with a $75,000 study of a grant that was done in 2009 to do something with the south end that was done by Donald Ballou, and it's sitting in the town hall doing nothing. I mean, we have to do something. And here's a whole list. 1989, the Quanapug watershed, Yale School of Forestry, they reviewed the watershed. 1990, soils and wetlands of Lake Quanapug. 1991, ecological study done by Priscilla Bailey concerning the plants, weeds in the lake, and da-da-da-da.
We empathize, we know that. The question is, how do we get the state to give us the permit, seems to be the question here.
Well, I think we have to get our
So I think
local
if you
legislators involved.
Absolutely. I think we do. We should probably get them on it, because we certainly can't go to the state and make them give us this permit. So we need somebody who can help us get this
And
permit.
we need the town to back us up in that,
Okay,
the complete board of selectmen. And
yeah, I think,
I mean, the lake is just going to get worse now.
no, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's just
But-
how do we get the state to respond and give us the permit? It's something that we can't do, but we could certainly talk to Matt Hoey about it and
Well-
and see if we can get him to get a push on it from him.
Well, we're going to be talking about how,
Okay.
too.
And
So-
we'll certainly back you up 100%.
Okay, because not happy about it at all.
No, I agree. I agree. If you've set up the meeting, we'll try and get there. At least some of us, all of us.
Unfortunately, they had a meeting this morning. If I knew that, I would have been there, but.
Yeah.
So, but I want them to
All right.
come up and see it. I mean, if you just come up there, you can see how bad it is.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep that in mind. And let us know if you set something up with,
Oh, yeah, I will.
with Sean and Ted, because we'll certainly be there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Anyone else?
About
Public
Quantified?
forum?
About Quantified?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say something if I may.
Sure. Joan's considerable.
That can be very deceiving sometimes. Right? So, I'm Daniel Messick.
Thank you.
My address is 520 Lake Drive in Guilford, and I live on the lake. And I've been in this room before and had really good experience, positive feelings about what happened at the lake in the years gone by, how the town's responded to the weed problem. I was just downstairs and I saw a stunning mural of Lake Quanapug, swim, paddle, kayak, all these things. There's nothing like it in New Haven County, and I'm now, it's like giving me pause as a citizen of the town to wonder about the on-again, off-again nature of the concern and care for the lake that the town's showing. So I'm here just to ask that the town show just a little bit more interest in what might be one of the greatest resources in New Haven County that's within our town boundaries. I'm happy to help in any way I can. I'm here to, assist in stewarding the lake. And the weeds this year have dramatically increased in the south end. And I'm sure Joan's already mentioned that and, reviewed history. I'm just here to support what she has to say, and she represents a lot of the people around the lake and in the region. So, thank you.
I thought the lake was looking better.
It
It was.
No, the middle of the lake was looking way, way better, but even those are coming back, and I think, they go backwards very quickly.
So we do have, yeah.
The areas treated was the north end
Mhm.
twice, and we're gonna do it again this year, by the boat launch, that whole 12 acres there. I think it's roughly, 8 acres around, the shallow shoal area, that shallow area. This will be the third time, that all's gonna get treated again, and then the south end, which we did for the lily pads. And there were other weeds in there that Greg wanted to go after, this year, in that south end there. And I don't know, DEP isn't clear about where they think the protected species is. I don't think they want to tell people where they are, but Greg has, he's very frustrated over this. He and I have communicated several times in the last couple of weeks. I even asked him, is it worth still doing it this time of year, or do we wait in the spring and hit it? So, Greg, I have to rely on him, what he thinks, but he's got to do the survey again, and he said, as you know, he's done that survey over and over again, and he's frustrated they want him to do it again. And that's where we are.
Can I just ask one quick question? So the north end, the boat launch and the shoals are going to be treated?
Yes.
That we have the permit for that? No.
Well, no, that's in the the plan, I should say.
Okay.
The plan is to do that as well as the south
Okay,
end.
and that's all in
Yeah.
the permit.
Mhm.
I have a few these I'd like to give them to the new folks.
Sure. But I think everybody has one.
Oh, I came late.
You don't have one?
Thank you.
I don't think. Okay.
Everybody else have one?
Terry doesn't have one.
I can take
Joan.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else, public forum? Okay. I do.
Scouts.
Go ahead. You wanna make a motion?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to move the new business 9A and B up before correspondence.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, James Crossley, see her?
James is the oldest Eagle Scout.
James is the oldest, I know. How are you?
Good evening, I'm Michael Crossley, I'm James's dad. Excuse me. I live at 170 South Hoople, up in north end of about a year ago, we were talking about disc golf and peddlers, and my son has an Eagle project, and he's in Eagle camp this week, so he can't be here. This is why I'm here.
Good for him.
And because that got delayed and now it's going into Bittner Park, I thought it'd be appropriate that we ask that the kiosk be allowed or get your permission to build it in Bittner Park. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, since the approvals for the disc golf haven't been totally completed, we'd like it in a more generic sense just to be put in Bittner Park, and it can be used for the disc golf, but it could also be used for the trails
Yes.
that are up there. And if I may, this was his original drawing. You may remember
Is he
it.
here? Oh, yes.
Thank you. Oh, here's an extra one.
Oops. It's all over the place here.
Want to make sure I have enough.
No, I appreciate that.
We have another mural done on the back of this one.
We can ask.
I've modified his drawing slightly because there's one thing we were discussing with Rick. The idea was to put it on, kind of on the hillside near the skate park. And if it's on a hillside, you're probably not going to see both sides. It would be very easy. James had originally drawn this as being about 5 feet wide. We could very easily use one whole sheet of plywood, which would be 8 feet, and double the front of it, so that you'd have room for more maps or list of sponsors or anything. So that's up to you all in the final plan. We can do it either way. So my request is that you grant us permission to do that, please.
I think we've talked about this before.
It was approved for
And it was
peddlers.
approved
We
for
just want to
peddlers.
change it now to-
So we just need to change it to Bittner and increase the size a bit. Okay, somebody make a motion to that effect, please?
I'll make a motion that we accept Eagle Scout James Crosby's kiosk project for the disc golf at Bittner Park.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
You want to say anything about the size?
I think that has to go with the planning,
Yeah.
if that's where we're going to put it. So we'll have to,
Maybe you want, like, Rick to approve the final size?
Yeah, we could do that.
do you want me to change my motion?
Just add that Rick will change
Okay.
that.
We'll amend my motion to add that Rick will make the final decision on size and location.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay.
And the location we had talked about, so remember when we did the disc golf
Yep.
walk up there where the map was, kind of like that area? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that could also
So
be
it's
used for,
really at the
you know, for
trailhead.
anything if we need to do for pickleball, or the skate park, or
Right,
basketball,
right,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really gonna be
This could
useful,
be
I think, for a lot of
advantage to
things.
Any of the activities there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, our other scout project, the split rail fence at Quanpug. Norman? We'll pull a chair up.
Probably here. The camera won't be able to see it, but
Well,
turn it
yeah.
and show the camera after you're done next one.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So, my name is Ross Benedict. I am from Troop 472. I was looking to gain approval from the board to conduct a project at Lake Quanapug regarding the split rail fence. Currently, in its current state, it's falling apart, as you can see from most of the pictures. It's very dangerous. It's just not in good condition at all. What I would like to do is to go into Lake Quanapug and repair or replace most, if not all, of the split rail fence, and just update it so it's safe and it's in good quality and good condition and will last for quite a bit longer. With the materials I've calculated, we'll need about 21 posts need to be replaced in the split rail fence, along with about 40 sections of split rail itself. Calculated with all the materials acquired, depending from who you buy it from, it is around $670 to $800 for all the materials that would be needed for this project. We would be going in with a team of around 10 people to go in to replace the rails, along with the help of a expert carpenter from Guilford, Connecticut. You might know him of the name of Steve Vandermellen. And I would like to seek approval from the board to conduct this project, and if possible, with the plans of fundraising, I should be able to raise all the money, but if not, like to ask for a small donation of around $100 to $250 if needed.
This is a very worthwhile project. Boy Scouts have done a significant amount of work at the Lake Quanapug Pavilion. For one thing, it's their pavilion to start with when they built it. They have built a new fireplace up there. They have, many of them have their Eagle ceremonies up at this place. So I believe that this is probably one of the most worthwhile endeavors I've seen come before the board. And the only thing that probably we might want to say is that you might want to put a sign up there, please don't sit on the fence, because that's why this thing falls down.
Don't tie your horses to it.
Don't tie your horses to it, or your ATVs. But in all seriousness, it would enhance the beauty of that section of the Lake Quanapug area. The Boy Scouts have managed that area for many, many, many years. And we probably should give them as much support as we can.
Where's the fence located?
It's the dividing point between the gravel parking lot and the pavilion area, the elevated pavilion area.
So in other words, if you go through the fence, you tumble down into the parking lot. Seriously.
Steep bank.
It's a steep angle.
Yeah, to echo John's point, I think almost all the improvements up there have been Scout projects, the pavilion included.
No, I agree. Take a motion.
Well, my motion is that we support Mr. Benedict's project here. If he finds himself in a deficit with regard to the amount of fundraising he needs, that we do supplement his fundraising efforts. Or we could also just give him, right from the start, some seed money to get started, so that he has at least a running start getting his project together. Just one quick question. When is your 18th birthday, and when do you have to have this completed?
I will be turning 17 on Wednesday, so I have quite a bit of time.
No, good. Well, happy birthday, and good luck in acquiring your crew.
Do you have a
Because-
timeline? Are you thinking like fall to do this, or what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking I should start work, like I should have all the fundraiser and money raised by the late August to early September, and hopefully by the end of September or early October, complete the project.
So are you going to be replacing all of the posts, or just the ones that need replacing?
All the ones that need replacing, which is almost all of them.
Okay. And the debris you're just going to put into the woods, or?
Yes, or we're going to take it
Yeah, I
away.
mean, it'll decompose on its own. I mean, what the type of wood are you going to be using? Do you know? Is it going to be hickory or ash, or?
I do not know specifically, because it depends on who I go to buy it from. I
Right.
will be looking for, will ever last the longest and be the cheapest.
Okay. Well, I endorse it. I think we should.
Okay, somebody
You
second the
want to put a
motion.
dollar amount, how much you're going to give, or?
Well, since he asked for, since he asked for a top end of 250, I think we should go for at least a minimum of the 250 that he is seeking to get him started. So my motion is that we support his project with a $250 grant. Is that the right word? Okay. And then if he needs more funds to complete his project, that we should be worthy to come back to us, and we will supplement them.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
All right, any other questions? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's all yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Benedict.
Thank you, it's gonna be great. We need to also add Mike Earl to our agenda. Come on, Boy Scout, we're dying to see this, you know. We are eager for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. My name is Michael Earl, and I'm here to present the final design for my Eagle Scout project. So last month I came to the committee and presented my project, which will include designing and making a mosaic that will be installed at the kiosk at Jacobs Beach. The project was approved by this committee pending approval of my design, which I will be presenting to you this evening. Following July's Park and Rec Committee meeting, I met with Mrs. Beth Klinger. Beth is a mosaic artist in New Haven and will serve as my mentor throughout the project. Beth was in support for the mosaic. So here is my proposed design.
I said I already love it. See? Perfect.
Oh, I do, this is lovely. Wow. But everybody wants to see, can you see?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Anyone else
awesome?
want? I have extras.
That's gonna be lovely.
I already see it's using green, blue,
Peter,
orange, and yellow.
want to focus on this?
We all want to know if you can do all the kiosks.
Okay, so the mosaic depicts 3 seagulls in flight in the foreground. The sky and the ocean are in the background. I chose to include seagulls, the ocean, and the sky because they're all present throughout the year at Jacobs Beach. So the piece in front of you is actually a digital drawing that I created on my iPad. I used my Apple Pencil to draw the background and the foreground first, and then drew each seagull separately. The Procreate app allowed me to cut, paste, and size the seagulls. So I have selected over 40 different variations of both porcelain and glass tile to use in my mosaic. Porcelain tiles are matte in color, glass tiles have a variance in color, and a bit of gloss. These tiles are waterproof and graffiti resistant. In my mosaic, the sky will be made up of light blues, the water will be made up of darker blues and greens, and the seagulls will be cream, salmon, and gray. So now I also have 3 containers of, these are like the samples of the tiles that I'm using. So I have, I don't know, I just want to kind of
We'll
pass them
just
around.
pass them around.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
these are the seagulls.
seagulls, here's the sky, and here is the ocean.
It's gonna be so awesome.
I want this at my house.
Seriously.
This is grand.
Okay, so, yeah, finally, I have a copy of my mosaic template and what it was gonna look like to size.
Why don't you hold it behind the door? Oh, no.
Where do you want?
So the camera can get it.
So the camera can see it through the camera.
That's a wonderful idea.
So awesome.
Looks like the seagulls fly.
So, yeah, I'm gonna be putting the tiles on top of that to make the mosaic. So does anybody have any questions regarding the project?
Did you say that these tiles were made of, what was the?
So the matte ones, which are 1 inch by 1 inch, those are porcelain, and then the smaller ones are glass.
So, obviously, each one individually is glued on, right?
Yeah, it's going to be placed on some mesh, and then the mesh is going to be like grouted onto a bigger board.
Do you have any idea of like, longevity down there in the salt environment, with the glue, do we know, is it gonna last a long time, you think?
Yeah, it will. So I'm working with an artist named Beth Klinger. She's based in New Haven, and she's actually creating a very large-scale mosaic to be displayed at the Hooker School in New Haven, and she's been working on it for 4 years, and so she's kind of an expert in this field, and she's recommended both the materials used for the backer board and the tiles, and she says that it should last for for a pretty long time.
Do you have a start date?
Tomorrow?
And are you still planning on having the community involvement?
So unfortunately, this is another thing that I talked to the artist about due to the heat and
Yeah.
just the constraints. I wouldn't be able to make the mosaic with the community just because it would, like the adhesive would be melting, and
Yes.
due to like differentiations and skill level, it just wouldn't be possible. So
Yeah.
that was part that I had to cut out.
So you like make it at home and then just bring it down and mount it, or?
Yeah, I'm actually making it at the Congregational Church. So, yeah, it's going to be made there, and then it'll be mounted on the kiosk.
Very good.
Your name on it, right?
I think we should be there for the
I
mounting of the
don't
kiosk.
quite know. Maybe,
I think you should.
probably.
Name on it.
Yeah,
You gotta put
Yeah,
your name on it.
Rick,
I
I think you should let us know when you're gonna put it at the kiosk, because I think a lot of us would like to come down and see this happen. Yeah. I would want to see it,
I'll be there.
yeah.
You probably already said this. Where'd you get these tiles from?
I got them online. It's like a tile depot
Yeah.
with Zen Mosaic. Yeah.
Do you have any thought of what the weight would be of the entire thing when it's done?
I'm not entirely sure of the weight, but I know that it's not going to be obscenely heavy. So.
All right, go for it. I mean, we've already approved it, and we love your design.
Thank you.
So you're on.
Great job.
It's great, thank you. Okay.
You can come do my pool.
I know.
That's why I said I want this at my house.
My pool area.
See you in 5 years, you'll be
Before
doing
I- Okay, correspondence, very quickly.
Thank you.
We have a copy of the letter Rick sent to the people like near Bittner Park. And apparently, we got some benches from the athletic field at Our Lady of Mercy. Rick, they donated?
Yeah, they're closing, and so they offered us any athletic equipment that we wanted, including fences and backstops, and so Tony and I went and took a look, and the only thing we thought we really could take was some benches, and we sent a couple guys the next day, and they grabbed a couple players'
Nice of them
benches.
to do that.
Yeah,
So it was great.
so we thanked them for it.
Okay, we have a letter from Kara Carell, who shows support of installing a splash pad. We have a letter from Janice Bishop, who would like to donate a tree to be planted on the grounds of the community center in memory of Sally and David Howe's son, and purchase a bench to put under the tree in memory of her mother, Ruth. So we do need to talk about that at some point. Okay. And a letter from the Lions Club thanking you for your assistance during their Flag Day celebration with some pictures of the flags. Awesome. And that was awesome, too.
That was mainly Todd went out and set up a sound system for them. We didn't really do a lot, but they thanked us for that.
Well, it was nice of them to do
Yeah.
that, so we appreciate that. Okay, approval of our July 2nd minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve our July minutes.
July 2nd,
July 2nd minutes. Why does it say something on it?
because we have two sets of minutes.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. All right, a second for the July 2nd meeting?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on this? Any additions, corrections, anything? Good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Abstain.
Yeah. Okay, now our
I remember being there.
July 17th meeting. Motion to approve the minutes to that was the meeting we held here, basically the informational meeting for the disco. So can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the public information meeting held on July 17th.
Second.
All right, any additions or discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay. Okay, the expenditures. Wait a minute, am I missing, or is this all of it?
Two pages? Two pages.
Yeah, back to.
Why do I only have one page?
The ones who cited?
No, it was 2 pages. Here.
You got checked. Here, don't look at mine.
I'm missing a page, oh well, you went somewhere else on the back side.
You got two cited? Yeah, no, I did.
We're missing 3 pages.
No, I have 3 pages.
Okay, well, mine just got a little shortchanged, it's okay, all is good. Any questions on the bills?
I do have a couple.
Okay, go for it.
This is all on page 1, Eversource for Bittner Park, $318.12. That can't be for lighting. I mean, we don't have any games up there at night. Is that for irrigation or?
No, this Eversource is, well, it's the building probably, the building and the
Okay.
parking lights.
Okay, and the parking lights. All right,
And
that
there are
makes
two,
sense.
one of them is field lights, which might be the $57 one,
Okay,
and the other one is the parking lights. in
the parking lights, all
The
right,
bathrooms.
and bathrooms,
Yeah.
okay. Second question, again, Long Hill, Eversource. Is that for irrigation, $47?
Two things, again, it's electricity for the irrigation controller, but also
Okay.
there are lights inside the building.
Okay,
If youth football had a meeting in there, or they were doing work inside the garage, they have the lights on, it's that.
okay. And the last one I had was the $44 for the Dome Avenue scoreboard. Are we covering that for the
We
lacrosse?
do that, we get reimbursed by
We do get
lacrosse.
reimbursed?
We send them the bill.
Perfect. So the $44 will be reimbursed to
Yes.
us from the lacrosse club?
Yeah,
Perfect.
and nobody sent that out to them.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any other questions, guys?
Happy Jack store?
Question, good?
No.
All right, so a motion to approve the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the July bills. Do we have to say the total?
Yes.
In the total amount of $1,713.02.
That's the 2 cents that does you every time.
Yep.
Yep, don't forget the 2 cents.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? We're good. All right. Okay, we're at our reports. Rick?
I'll just highlight a couple of them. The community picnic and fireworks went great. We had about 800 people on the green for the community band. As always, Mark Gom just amazes me with 4 rehearsals with 100 musicians, puts out a 2-hour concert. Heard some nice feedback from people regarding the fireworks. Number 8, I'm disappointed we don't have the tents there yet. Will Thompson and I met with a tent contractor at Jacobs probably 2 weeks ago now, and expected the tents up by last week, but we don't have them yet. So people have been asking, what is that platform? What is that for? And it'd be nice if we get tents, to cover it so people know what we did it for. The other ones I'll just mention the upcoming concerts. The concerts we've had so far have been good. This next week is Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute, a group called Elements, and then Bloodlines with some Blood, Sweat, and Tears tribute. And the last one is Bo Bolero, and they're a Steely Dan tribute band, upcoming Sunday. So we have the rest of summer basically on Sunday, and the green is Parks and Rec concerts here if we get rain. The only thing else I'll mention is the ultraviolet meter number 12. This is something that Matt Hoey was interested in us pursuing. I think Dennis Johnson initially got the email. And so what it is, it's a company that, they were college students actually from Quinnipiac and University of New Haven, put together this meter. It's a digital readout that tells you how long you can safely be in the sun exposure before you have to worry about sunburn. And so the day they put it up, it was around 3 o'clock, and it said 45 minutes. So if you're exposed for more than 45 minutes, you have to worry about sunburn. Other days where it's like bright sun, and in the middle of the day, it could be 10 minutes. And there's also a sunscreen dispenser with it. So you just, it's like a Purell. You put your hand on it, there's a couple drops come out, and you put it on. There is it's a $250 a month rental. And so we committed to it for, I think, just 6 weeks or something like that for now, because it just went up. So I think we figured by mid-September, it'll probably take it down. But we don't own it, we just kind of lease it or rent it for a little bit. So it's kind of a pilot for now, and then next summer, if this looks like it was a good idea. Makes a lot of sense, though, because it's right there, it's a digital readout, and it's right at the edge of the guard room of the bathhouse. So it's very visible, people can see it there, has to be plugged in, so it's, we had an outlet put out there for it. And, we heard some positive feedback from people that they like having that there. So it's something new.
Any chance of putting it at Quantico next year if it's successful?
We could do that, yeah.
We should put it at
As a
both
second.
beaches if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
If it's a rental, does that mean that there's someone who comes and refills the sunscreen or something?
Actually, Dennis Johnson's volunteered to do it. He has the extra bag of sunscreen, but I think they said you get like 1,000 squirts out of it or something like that. It'll last a long time. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Unfortunately, I need to leave, so I'd just like to give some enhanced information about number 4, about the Guilford turf issue.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, this technically could go under the Standing Fields Committee, but essentially on July 23rd, we had the Standing Fields Committee, and they met in executive session to discuss the problems with the repair of the field. Because it was during the executive session, I'm not allowed to give further details about it, but the information I am allowed to provide is that the process is still ongoing and the resolution is still pending. If you read the article in the Courier this past week, it was fairly accurate. I mean, it was accurate as to what was the information that was available, but this is just to give a further endorsement that it is still technically challenged with regard to all the parties involved in order to get a resolution on this. And again, it looks like it's probably not going to be available for the fall season. So that the next available season will probably be for spring. So as it stands right now, I believe they were supposed to have a conference call last Friday. So was that the
There wasn't one Friday, but I got an email today that the final test results should be in this Wednesday.
Okay. They had given they had given all parties a deadline to get back. And so that is what the Standing Fields Committee and the town attorney and the Selectman's office is waiting for, is the feedback from there. But other than that, that's pretty much what's available right now.
Rose, can I add one thing under my report that's not on here? I have to, this is, what I'm going to tell you is a story that's indicative of some of the staff we have. Last week, there was a large senior lunch with maybe 12 kids. They're from St. George Church, young kids, sixth graders maybe, helping serve the lunch. One of them lost, a young girl, I think, lost her, it was like a mouthpiece, night guard or something. It was
Like a retainer.
Retainer, thank you, retainer. It was worth $3,500. And Todd literally went dumpster diving.
Oh, God.
He was in the dumpster, and he pulled out every trash bag, emptied every bag. He found it.
Wow.
But I gotta say it, because this is the kind of staff we have. You know, it's a $3,500 piece of, mouthpiece that this young girl lost.
Wow.
And he went into the dumpster, and he emptied every bag. And as he was doing it, he was giving a little lesson to the kids about recycling. And
No, we are
that's time.
very close.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give another example of the crew that Rick has. Not this past weekend, the weekend before, the Shoreline Sting had their softball tournament here in town. And Anthony and his crew got the fields in immaculate shape before that weekend. And you had, I forgot how many teams, but the vast majority of the teams were out-of-town teams from Vermont, from New York, and from Massachusetts. And no complaints, absolutely no complaints whatsoever about the quality of the fields, about the quality of the spectator area. It just was, and in fact, thank God the weather cooperated 100%. So it was, again, due to the work of Rick's crew, everybody had a very pleasant experience in town playing softball. So it is, very much so.
Yes, and the weather has not been on their side this year.
It was for that weekend. I mean, the stars were in alignment for them for that weekend, and everything worked out to their advantage.
All right, thank you.
Rick, before we move on, I just want to, I've seen all of the Eagle Scouts projects that were completed last month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chittenden, Nut Plains, and Bittner Park, and awesome. I feel like Kent was just here about the stairs, and it's done.
It's already there.
It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
did a nice job.
We are so fortunate to have all these Eagle Scouts in town willing to take on these projects.
I think we've had 10 in the last year, 10 projects
They've been great projects.
in process or completed.
Okay, Anthony's report. Parks Foreman. Any comments on that?
I'll just comment on one, about two-thirds of the way down Long Hill Park parking lot speed bump. That, there's a neighbor that has had some issues with the park there, and so somebody from the Air Pollution Control Unit from DEP visited me in spring, I think, and he said because of the dust that's kicked up in that parking lot, we needed to put a speed bump in. And I looked into purchasing the speed
plastic
bump.
ones, yeah.
It was like $8,000 or something. And so Tony again, he created a speed bump using stone dust, and he did it pretty much all himself. The whole width of the parking lot, he put the speed. You got to slow down. It's stone dust, and it's not going to last forever, but he can patch it, repair it periodically. But it's effective. It works. He rolled it, and compacted it, and so we complied with what DEP told us we had to do.
Wow. Good. Okay.
Oh, it's amazing what they get done.
Yes, it is. We don't have, do we have one from Ellen? Am I missing it, or we didn't get one? Okay.
I can tell you that we have 150 kids at Camp Monogatuck, 65 on the Way Out, what is it, Way Out,
Get Out,
Far
Way
Out?
Out's huge.
Get Out, Way
Get Out,
Out,
Way
which
Out,
is
yeah.
7th grade to 9th grade, which is full, and in the past, we've only had 15 or 18.
Right.
So 65 is awesome, and the preschool summer program is full. So
All
it's
right.
pretty awesome.
So it's all going well.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent.
And any comments on the seniors report? It's been a lot going on this summer here, too.
When are they
Wow.
not busy?
You're not doing anything tomorrow, my daughter's doing a concert here.
I know.
At noon, 12:30.
I like the mystery ice cream trip.
Oh, they do that, yes, they do that all the time.
I'll tell you what it is.
They do that all the time. So, it's always filled with fun things, I have to say. Okay, any other questions or comments on the reports? All right. Somebody had to make a comment, huh?
So we've
Yeah,
got something.
I agree. All right, unfinished business, Jacobs Beach Platform is now finished
Are we-
business,
we're
isn't it?
skipping this?
Wait a minute, what are we skipping?
7?
The commission.
Oh, the commission reports, yes, I'm just eager to move on. Okay, standing fields, anything else, Rick, that,
Mostly it's the
What John
synthetic
said?
turf. Yeah, that's mostly what we've been talking about.
okay.
Yeah.
Anything for the Green Committee?
No meeting.
No meeting. Land acquisition,
Nothing to discuss?
technology.
No meeting.
I'll just say that Ellen and I spoke last week, and attempting to arrange a meeting for her and I to come up to my office up in Farmington. However, the people that I would like her to meet to investigate a board that she would like to put down in the preschool room, the people that I need to help me are both on vacation this week. So we'll probably push it, as I told her, probably to next week.
Yeah.
So.
The community center 25th anniversary, we're getting there. I've been away, I have to connect with Ellen, so yeah, everybody's on vacation. I know.
Just as a
It's hard to get anything done. Community center improvements. So, did you notice? The room has been painted. The hallway has been painted. Coming up the stairs has been painted. The Guilford room has been painted. I noticed them tearing some bricks out when I came here, so apparently the roof is not done yet.
The only thing I have left is the flat roof, really. The
Okay.
whole rest of the roof is basically done. There's a little bit of metal work, I think, but it's just the flat roof over the corridor.
Okay, the back of the office where the staff eats has been painted a lovely blue, everything's lovely, and all this brown's gonna be painted blue. And when that's all done, we'll start to see some new carpets pretty soon. So, we're getting there, guys. And the chair rails were also put up here, I noticed, in the hallway.
Yes, and also
Yes.
Todd and the guys, they resurfaced the floor in the Guilford room. It's shiny, it looks like it
I
might
couldn't
skate
get in
on
there,
it.
something was in there, so,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so we're making some serious progress. Okay, now to our unfinished business. Jacobs Beach Platform, is it done?
It's finished,
All right,
Just waiting tents.
for tents now, yeah.
just waiting for tents. All right,
Hear from any of the neighbors about
about what?
The platform?
boardwalk?
I haven't heard from any of the neighbors.
I got complaints.
You got complaints?
About the
boardwalk?
platform?
We rushed it in, we didn't consult with the neighbors, did we have approval?
It was all approved by.
Well, it was all
Planning Zone,
approved.
Yeah,
It was approved
yeah.
in the original plan.
That's what I said, so they went away,
Yeah.
but they were not happy.
Why? It's
We
flat,
can't-
it's in
we
the
can't
sand.
win. We just can't win. They didn't like the tent, which isn't
Where is
even
the
up
tent?
yet.
We don't have it yet.
You mean
the shade structure?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't, the permanent shade structure wasn't approved, but the platform was.
Right.
And that's why we went ahead and did that, and that's why we're gonna go with just temporary tents. You know, like we have a tent there now, it'd be like that, only
All
nicer.
right, we didn't get a chance to get down there today, and I haven't seen the tent. What does it look like?
Well, it'll be
It's just a top.
it's a tent, yeah, just a
Yeah.
tent, not this,
It doesn't have sides or anything.
no, not like the nice wispy one that Will Thompson originally
Right.
proposed. That was pretty expensive, and that was
Yeah.
permanent, and that was not approved.
Right.
But the deck was, and I double checked that with George Crawl to make sure we were good on that, and he said yes, so we did it.
Okay, so that brings us to 8B, disc golf course. So we have met, we had a public hearing. Thank you, Claire, for putting all of this concisely together for us.
You're very welcome.
So, I guess the question is, we definitely need, if we're gonna go ahead, we need to now say that we definitely wanna do this. Is this where we are now?
Yeah, and I have, I
Or we're
brought
not gonna do it?
the map that I submitted the application to the Wetlands Commission and Planning and Zoning, so they'll accept it, receive it Wednesday night, and then walk sometime early September, and then September, I'm gonna say 8th, somewhere around then is their next meeting. And I hope that we get the approval then, and then Planning and Zoning is the following week. So I put both applications in,
All right.
and so this is what I submitted, basically with what Craig Smalling had designed. And I don't think we're gonna do all of the way he asked for it, but for example, where's number one? Number one, when we were up there for that, it's like this.
Right.
He was just proposing in the future, if we ever want to add another option for the hole, it could go here.
Okay.
So we put everything.
Okay.
We may not ever do that, but we
Right.
thought, let's go the massive, most ever that we would ever think
So that
about
we can,
doing.
yes.
And we could always back it off.
Right.
But,
We'll go back it off, but yeah.
remember we were throwing up toward the ridge up here when we had the demonstration. He just showed it going that way as another possibility. And again, it's number two, I don't think there's any way it's gonna really be that wide, but we went for the most possible. So, there are 6 or 7, there are areas of wetlands, everything is in blue, I highlighted as wetlands. So number 3 is adjacent to wetlands. Number 10 is, 18 actually is, it's a little too close to the wetlands here, we're gonna have to talk about that. 11 is near the wetlands, the end of 12 is. The border of 13 is within the 100-foot buffer of the wetlands. I don't know if it's a problem, it's not 25 feet away, but anything within 100 feet.
All
they
of
have
this
to
still
approve.
has to go to inland.
Has to go to the Wetlands Commission, yeah.
So, yes,
Yeah.
all right. And they'll tell us
Right.
definitely, okay.
So the next step is, and Craig and I have talked about this, is before the wetlands walk, we want to go and mark the wetland side of the boundary that he's proposing for
Okay.
the fairway. So if they'll know that this is the boundary, for example,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be more than 25 feet away, and we'll just make sure it is, but they'll want to know what we're proposing for the boundaries. So maybe we put some ribbons on the trees, or, a little blue
Right.
paint, or a dot or something,
Don't put
so that they'll
dots.
know what we're looking at. And
Put
so,
ribbons, don't put dots, put something that you can take down.
yeah, like ribbons or
Yeah,
something, yeah,
please.
yeah. So, this is what was submitted.
Okay. I think when I looked through all the notes, and for those of us who were there, it seems like I think we answered all of the questions that people had. We heard them, and we did answer them. We talked about the liability, we talked about how much this is going to cost. Are we providing a porta potty? We don't provide a porta potty for anything up there, so I don't imagine we're going to do that, We've talked about the safety quite a lot. We talked about the environment quite a lot. So I think we pretty well have answered the questions, heard all of the concerns. Is there anything anybody else wants to say about this?
Yes, so we got the approval from the Wetlands, Planning and Zoning, and Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection, right?
Well, we haven't gotten it yet.
We've sent Kevin sent an application 2 months ago now, I think, for the Natural Diversity Database, and we haven't heard anything back yet. I tried calling twice, I think he's called to whoever the contact is there. I haven't gotten an answer yet. But I think we'd like to get that information, but we just haven't received it yet.
And you said, didn't they do a study a few years ago up there?
2002. We have a study from 2002, and there were no protected species in the area that we're looking to do anything.
But we want to cross all our Ts.
Yeah, something-
Dot our Is, cross our Ts. So do
Things
that.
change over 12.
By the time we
15
get
years.
through planning, zoning, and inland wetlands, then hopefully we'll hear back and
We
then
should
we'll
have
have
that
all
by
the
then, I would
information.
hope, yeah.
All right.
Maybe Kevin can push it, but I've tried a couple times, and I just haven't gotten a return phone call.
All right. So I think probably what we need to do to make this more official is get a motion out there that says we are in favor of pursuing a disc golf course.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. I'll second.
I'll make a motion that we approve the installation and construction of the disc golf course, 18-hole disc golf course.
Second. At Bittner Park. At Bittner Park.
At Bittner
yes.
Park.
All right. Any other discussion? I feel like we've discussed this quite a lot. We've heard everybody. We've tried to answer questions. I think we've listened to everyone. But
Do we
I
need to
think-
put in there pending the approval of,
oh, that goes without saying.
that's what I'm saying, okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, let's see what happens. Roof replacement, almost done except for the flat roofs.
Perfect. Synthetic turf field damage, we already talked about.
We
It's
already
not
talked
done.
about the synthetic turf field damage. 52 Church Street,
Nothing new I've heard.
nothing new that
I
I've heard.
haven't heard
Anybody?
anything.
No, we haven't heard anything about what's happening there. But we are, the guys who are doing the roof are parking there, right? And all
They're
using
parking
it.
there, they were using the garage for storage. We have 3 or 4 of us park there every day to just create more parking
Nice,
space here.
good.
So we park, in the little upfront driveway there.
And I saw the guys cleaning up today, cutting some branches down and weeding and everything, so it looks nice.
And we've been mowing, like when the guys mow here, they've been mowing over
They mow
there.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, field use policy and fees. Anything happening?
I think Rick has been doing some things that were requested, kind of gathering numbers and, looking at kind of the proposal that we're working on, but we have not met since the last meeting, I don't believe.
Did we enforce this more this season, more over this past season, or not?
No more
Just
than
what we've
usual
always
that I'm
done.
aware.
Same
Just because
policy.
I received a phone call about a private organization that suddenly was surprised they were being charged a fee, so they didn't use any of the fields.
Maybe you tell me after who that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm like, it's nothing new.
No, my
Yeah.
understanding is we're still using the old policy
Right.
until the new
Yeah,
policy is
right.
put in
Yeah.
place.
New
That's
policy,
right.
right, hasn't been.
So what I was asked at the last field committee meeting was to, the impact, and I don't really want to say what the fees being proposed are yet, but what impact would that have on the groups that are currently paying a fee? And I can tell you, it's a substantial jump. And, I think that's something that we're certainly going to have to look at. It would be substantial. And there are several different groups that would be impacted, almost a lot of groups, including groups that are having tournaments and things that are, locally hosted, but tournaments. It would be a big jump. And so,
Well, we don't want to make the fees so that they're prohibitive for
Right.
people. That's not our
Yeah.
goal here.
right. So,
We've benchmarked with other towns though, right, as to how they handle it? Yeah. So as long as we're in line with other.
So there's not much more to do.
no, and, because
Okay.
there's some meetings only 2 people could come out of 4,
Yeah. Well, some-
vacations, so we thought, let's just do it right, and,
I agree. We could use the old, we've used the old policy for years now. We can go another year if we have to until we get it done right.
we have
Do
a
it the right
policy,
way.
we're just trying to revise
Use what
it.
we use for fall, and then hopefully by spring, we'll have something else in place. Okay. The carpet replacement, well, not until the place gets painted, then we're gonna see the carpet. HVAC upgrades.
It started today, actually. There are 2 different things. One of is a project that Todd and, we're working on. Another one is the Johnson Controls has the contract for the town to replace light bulbs, and that's energy efficiency, not just HVAC. But they are here today, starting to do some of their work. And then Train is working with us separately to replace 5 of the VABs, variable air volume. They're boxes that are in the ceiling that promote airflow. I don't know how else to say it, but they open and close, they're like little dampers, so they either let more air in, less air in, or whatever. And there are 5 getting replaced. We have 26, in the building, but we're doing 5 at it, we'll do 5 more next year, and, over the 5 years, we'll get them all done. So today, they were here starting to do some of that work. It'll all be done, be done by the end of summer.
The Historic District Commission approved the windows.
Ah, okay.
So Johnson Controller doing that too, I think.
Right, I think they're replacing 25 or 26 windows here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do we have?
Oh, boy. More.
Yeah, more.
They're doing all of these, I know.
Are they doing like half the windows? Give me an idea.
Yeah, probably about half,
All right, that's all.
yeah.
It's a good start. Yeah, it's a good start. Do them one at a time. Okay. 8I, the request for a bench at Chaffinch Island for Marlene Colento. So we have received a letter a while ago about that. So, we did walk down there today, and there are a few benches. What did we think?
I think we have to resort back to our policy on benches and why they're placed. We do have the tree planted on her behalf at Chaffinch already.
And the policy you're referring to would be having them for people who have more of a direct connection to Parks and Recreation.
Generally, when we first looked at the policy, that was our intent, was that it was people who were involved with the commission or with the Park and Rec or something that had a great deal of involvement within Parks and Rec, other than just liking to use our beach.
Yeah, plus
Just so as-
we're benched out down there.
Not to have too many.
There's already 4 benches down there, and it's really not a big piece of property.
And I think some of the benches there were put in before we had that policy, because there are some benches there for people that really didn't have a connection to Parks and Rec Department, but I think that's before we had the policy.
And I think one of the reasons we established the policy was because we didn't want to have a lot of benches down there. In memorial, in memory of people. That's not the intent of the park.
But we did discuss perhaps a small plaque for the tree that has already been planted.
So, I think can you approach Mr. Borden and see if he would be okay with putting a small plaque near the tree? I mean, we could sort of cement it in the ground so it wouldn't get lost, but.
Sure. I could talk to him about, if he's interested in approaching the Green Committee, if they're looking for possibly any more benches on the green. But that,
Absolutely.
that is a different style bench, and,
One close to the marketplace would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be really nice.
Well,
No, you're right, it would be nice.
That's how she's remembered. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's how I know her.
So, yeah.
yeah.
So there may be other alternatives. Okay, and then the request for a bench at Jacobs for Livia Jacobs. We didn't get a chance to walk Jacobs, but we do believe that there is room for a bench down there. And it certainly does meet our criteria, since the beach is Jacobs Beach.
What about Adirondack chairs?
Oh.
You can use some more of those down there.
Do we ever?
I asked Al Jacobs about it. I think he's really interested in a bench, just like what's there now, and he even had a spot he would like it to go. But when Will and I were down there meeting with the tent guy about the platform, I asked him if we put another bench, and he has a spot where he thought it could go down there. In that grassy area, there's still room to do it. Yeah. So there's space, and then at some point, what do we do with that platform? Do we want to maybe have some Adirondack chairs on there? Do we want to put some picnic tables on there? Will thought if we did that, maybe we should get, I don't want to say fancier, but a different type of picnic table rather than what
Oh, yeah.
we build. All the tables we have, our guys build those in the winter. He was thinking something more of a, I don't want to say permanent, but
Yeah, substantial.
yeah, something different on the platform.
But do we have, I mean, you could work with Al and find a place for the bench? Okay, do we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
I believe we do. Somebody want to make a motion for me, please?
I will make a motion to place a bench at Jacobs Beach for Olivia Jacobs. The request was done by Al Jacobs.
Second.
Thanks.
All in favor? Opposed?
I think I motioned out.
You're motioned out.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, Any other old business, any other unfinished business?
Did we need to go back to Janice Bishop's request, or is that for next month's
I
meeting?
think we should change, wait for next month's meeting,
Okay.
because I think we want to look at our policy in terms
Yep.
of this again and make sure I don't want to rush into it. Let's,
All right, so we're going to table that till
so
September.
let's table that. We'll do that in our September meeting.
Perfect.
And I'll talk to Janice about it. Okay, so, under new business, we've taken care of our eco projects, which brings us to our splash pad at Jacobs Beach. You could have come up during public.
It's my first time doing things, so see how it.
And then, but you would have had to sit around and wait for us to talk about it anyways.
Nice to hear it.
Now you have.
Thank you.
I was at the beach this afternoon with my daughter and my granddaughter on the baby swing, and one of your classmates came, or somebody came up and said, "Oh, would you like to sign a petition for a splash pad at the beach?" I said, "Well, I'm actually going to be at a meeting tonight."
Okay, so I'm Mandy Sorrentino. I live at 249 Driftwood Lane in Guilford, and I'm here to bring forward a proposal to put in a splash pad in one of the parks in town, ideally Jacobs Beach. That's where we'd really like to see it. There's significant interest in the community. I started a Facebook group, and it already has 261 members in the group that would like to see this happen. We've circulated a petition that I can actually give to as well that has 202 signatures of people showing their support to have this in town. And I think it would really add a lot to the existing facilities down at the beach. It offers a really fun, safe way for children and families and members of the community to enjoy the water that's not swimming in the sound. You're not dealing with currents, you're not dealing with standing water, you don't have the same drowning risks, no sharp shells or anything like that. And it seems to be a growing movement across the state. You're seeing a lot more of these go in. The closest splash pads we have are in Clinton or East Haven. North Branford's currently exploring putting one in, I think, their Rotary Club. I just saw something about their Rotary Club exploring installing one. I'm not sure at which park it's going to be in, but that's North Branford. And a beautiful, very large facility just opened in Eisenhower Park in Milford. That's probably much larger than what we'd want to do at Jacobs, but it's been very well received by the community. And so I'm here to, ask for support of the commission in exploring this project with us. We have a group of parents that are very, very motivated and prepared to fundraise to cover costs of installation. So it's something we'd really like to see happen that we think would add a lot to the community.
Do you have a place picked out
We
specifically?
don't have a specific place picked out. I think Jacobs Beach probably makes the most sense for a variety of reasons. As I mentioned already, it offers a different way to enjoy water by the beach. It's safe. We sell beach passes already for people to come down. I think something like this at a site like Jacobs Beach would draw more people to the town beach and probably increase, any revenues we have from that. I think it'd be great for the kids at camp in the summer to cool down. It gets pretty hot. And I would think, depending on where you place the splash pad, it could be something that you could explore offering like a, closing it down and renting it for a birthday party or something, the same way you do the pavilions, right? So they're there all the time for people to enjoy, but you can rent it if you wanted to for a few hours and have it as a private space. I have small children. They unfortunately have winter birthdays, but if we ever went the route of doing a half birthday in the summer, that's certainly something I would happily rent, for an entertainment perspective from our party.
Comments?
If I can just add, the only places on park grounds where we have public water is Jacobs Beach or Long Hill Park. It's the only place. The others are school grounds, where we have athletic fields with public water, but not, it's not a park. Nut Plains has no water at all. Bittner, it's a well, so it's not public water there, city water, so, if it dries up, you don't have water, So I think the only place really, Long Hill Park is really an athletic field, unless we close some of the fields down. Jacobs kind of makes the most sense if we're gonna look at a place to do it, I think.
All right, so
We need to explore.
this is just, I was just, we need time to look at this, to explore it. I would suggest that we set up a small subcommittee to look at this, because this is more than the whole commission needs to do. So Miss Claire also has little children.
Really? Do I?
No. So if you would be willing to be part of our subcommittee, and if Mandy would be willing to be part of our subcommittee, and if Veronica Wallace would be willing to be our subcommittee, I think if we start, I would, just the three to start, at least the subcommittee, to start to look at, is it feasible? Where could we put it? Basic things. So I think we should just start with this subcommittee and let you do your thing, and then come back to us and let us know what's what.
Works for me.
Do you mind if I have one question or one comment to that? When I went down there again with Will, when they were there for the tent platform, we talked about bench. I just mentioned to him that, there's some talk about possible splash pad down there, and I'm just throwing out, he might be interested, or we might want to think about, he has a good concept of how things work and how you get approvals.
I don't doubt that the committee could work with it.
When we get to that
Absolutely.
point.
No, I think my intention in setting up this committee of three is not that they are, but they will reach out to the people that they need to reach out to, rather than having to come back every month to us to say, or wait every month for us to say what to do next. So I think if we just enable them to talk to Will, go down there and look around, start to look at costs, that's sort of the intent. And of course, but you would have to be in the loop.
Oh, I can't work with Rick.
Is that because I'm loopy?
I knew that would happen.
In the
so.
loop?
All right, so if need be, I'll put that in the form of a motion, that we form a subcommittee of the three to look into a splash pad. I think it'd be a great asset to the town, but let's see where we can do it and what it's going to cost and what's involved.
Second.
Any more discussion on this, guys? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's go for it. I mean, maybe by next summer, we'll have something.
I'd just like to add that I think, in particular, and it wasn't until I had grandchildren that I realized that there is a small population of little children that could be better served in terms of a splash pad or a playground areas that are contained. Little toddlers, you can't, they just need a lot.
They're hard to chase.
So I think that this would help a lot immensely.
I do
think
too.
it would serve a lot of children.
Would something like this require, around, I'm trying to recall, I've seen them, my children have been on them as well, but do you typically fence with a gate to?
That's part of the investigation that we've done. If you build a facility that requires treatment of water, it then becomes a quote-unquote pool. And then you get into the area of having to fence it and, if we have a water source, and these spaces are only 30, they come in 30 or 60 feet, and depending on what you do for bells and whistles in terms of things that shoot up and things like that, it's a relatively inexpensive thing to do as long as we have a water source, which we do at Jacobs Beach. After that, it gets significantly more expensive once you get into holding tanks and treatments and
maintenance
yeah.
daily.
And that's what we've discovered. So that's why our first priority or our first intention is to go to Jacobs Beach if we can manage that. I think it's cost effective. I think it's something that can be done relatively easily and will be a great resource for the town of Guilford.
So my kids are 16 and 13, and
Too
I
old.
remember, yeah, they're too old. But I remember when they were little, people talking about doing a splash pad. So I thank you for, spearheading this and being involved, and that's great because nobody did it back then, so.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. I'd love to see it happen. I think there's a fun community of little people here who really like to
Oh, I
do it.
agree. Yeah. It is fun. I've used the one in East Haven. It is fun. Okay. Office trailer for the park garage. Rick? We have just come from the park garage.
Yeah, you have a nice tour?
You know what, it is so hot down there, you can't even breathe. I don't have the words to describe this. But I know we have talked about this, and I think that perhaps you and I need to meet and talk a little further about this, and we do have to start to get some action. We can't allow these guys to work down there anymore that way. It is hot, it is humid, and you cannot have your lunch in the same room where the paint is stored and the work is being done. It smells so terrible, I don't know how they could even eat down there. There's no air coming through there. There is no air conditioning anywhere. We have to do something. Okay, so as soon as your vacation is over, you contact me, and we're gonna have to start to do something for these guys. Agreed?
Agreed.
Those of us who went down there,
Absolutely.
I mean, it was just.
We went down a couple years ago, and I remember it was bad.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't.
It hasn't
Yeah.
changed.
And you remember, we put money in our capital budget to get a whole new place for the guys as
Yeah.
it was cut out. And so at the very least, an interim, if we can get a trailer, even for them to have a place to eat, at least, you know.
Or we were talking about even enclosing that
Office.
back part. We may have to just
Yeah,
close that.
gotta
So
do something.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. All right, any other business? Last chance. Motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
You did make another
the
motion.
August 6th meeting at 7:44.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?